ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति। For the majority in this modern world, the goal of life begins with the academic excellence. Starts from KG onwards. I think not even KG, before that lower KGs and all that. First, academic excellence. What for academic excellence? To get a top ranking career. Why a top ranking career? So that one can amass wealth. Why so much of riches? So that one can command luxury and comforts. Why luxuries and comforts? To be happy and to get away from sorrow. Now tell me, is there anything wrong in this goal? If one aspires to be happy and wants to get freed from sorrow, is there anything wrong? Nothing wrong. What is wrong in that? Nothing wrong. If that is nothing wrong. But something is wrong elsewhere. Where? Whether these means employed, are they capable of fulfilling what I want to accomplish in life, that is gaining happiness and total freedom from sorrow? Here nobody bothers to inquire and investigate whether these things are really capable of accomplishing the true goal of life. Certainly everyone wants to be, why human being, even all living creatures want to be happy and free from sorrow. But the means employed by us, are they capable of accomplishing that? That is the question nobody cares to investigate. And today in the modern world, because of the advancement in science and the technological glamour, whatever that science is not able to, that means discern or find out, they straight away say what? It doesn't exist. And all these theories come from whom? The scientists themselves. They themselves condemn anything and everything that is beyond the purview of science as superstitions and nonsense. This is based on the hubris that these scientists think that they know all, they are omniscient. If you want to find this, just I would like to read a passage which was uttered by a top physicist, not recently, okay? It is in 1894. A top physicist from University of Chicago, who was addressing to the leading scientists of that time and who got the Nobel Prize afterwards. Means just want to show the status of that physicist, not ordinary scientist. And this scientist by name Albert Michelson, who had got Nobel Prize afterwards, in his lecture to the leading scientists, he says this: the most important fundamental laws and facts of physical science have all been discovered, and these are now so firmly established that the possibility of their ever being supplanted in consequence of new discoveries is exceedingly remote. Nevertheless, it has been found that there are apparent exceptions to most of these laws, and this is particularly true when the observations are pushed to the limit. He continues, finally says, our future discoveries must be looked for in the 6th place of decimals. Just like that. In the 6th place of decimals, it follows that every means which facilitates accuracy in measurement is a possible factor in a further discovery. This is what, and this is the thinking of not only Michelson as such, this is the thinking of all the scientists at that time. I mean, in 1894 means exactly 107 years ago. What he said now, today we can verify. Is it true? Whatever the subsequent discoveries that means come up in science and says have what? Proved what he has said to be wrong. And today's scientists are not in a better position than this Michelson has said. So this is what I would say, it is a hubris on the part of the scientists and the blind following that continues all over the world, that science and technology means everything. I am not decrying science and technology. To the extent it is useful, certainly we have to make use of that. But that itself is not capable of finding the solution to the true goal of human life. Now, no doubt, to live a decent life, academic excellence is necessary. We don't say it is not necessary. So, money is required. A grahastha is supposed to earn the bare minimum thing to live a decent and dignified life as such. He should not depend on anyone else. It is necessary. So some luxuries, comforts are required. We want to be happy, etc. But these by themselves cannot be the goal of life. How do you say? Here is a demonstration. Here is a person who is in front of us, who is going to come now, was a person of not ordinary academic excellence. In fact, his academic excellence, if you take into account, I think even the top ranking fellows in the today's world, all the accomplishment, the academic excellence that these people have got will be nowhere near the person who is now going to be demonstrated in the Chandogya Upanishad. And his, whatever that means, that knowledge and that is art and the other things that he had at his command was such a thing that even one of the many things that he has mastered would have been sufficient for him to amass not ordinary wealth as such. So any amount of wealth he could have, that means commanded by by practicing one of the many branches of knowledge that he has mastered. In spite of all this, he finds that what? All is not well with me, I have got shoka, and he goes to Sanat Kumara. And you know who is this person? None other than person, he is Narada. This Narada, who has all these academic excellences, is what? He goes to Sanat Kumara and prays to him, Bhagavan Shokasya Param Ma Tarayatu. Please help me to get over the ocean of sorrow. This is what is the Narada's plight. One more thing, because Narada has come, there are lots of misunderstanding about Narada. As far as Kathakaras are concerned, what they do? They make a mockery of Narada. And Narada means what? What they say is, he is a Kalipriyaha. Kalahapriya. Kali means Kalaha only. Kali means Kalaha only. Kalahapriyaha. So that Kalipriya or Kalahapriyaha, he is the one who is a Kalapriya. I think the most disgraceful thing to say about Narada. He was not an ordinary person. So it is not so as such. So maybe some episodes are available, but they have got a better meaning than what outwardly appears to be there. So now let us see. First, Vidyaranya Muni in this chapter, Sanat Kumara Vidya Prakasha. It is called Sanat Kumar Vidya Prakasha because this knowledge was imparted by Sanat Kumara to Narada, because Narada approached him in the right manner and requested for this knowledge appearing in the Chandogya Upanishad. First of all, author Vidyaranya Muni in this chapter introduces the topic of this particular chapter. Let us see, take the first stanza. Sanat Kumaras Chandogye Naradayopadishtavan Vidyametam Pravakshetra Sarvashoka Nivrittaye. Take Anvaya. Sanat Kumaraha Chandogye Naradaya Upadishtavan Etam Vidyam Atra Sarvashoka Nivrittaye Pravakshe. Etam Vidyam Atra Sarvashoka Nivrittaye Pravakshe. Sanat Kumara, the great sage Sanat Kumara, Sanat Sujata, etc. Sanat Kumara. What did he do? Chandogye. Chandogye literally can mean Chandogya Upanishad. But here it means Chandogya Upanishadi Saptamadhyaye. In the 7th chapter of Chandogya Upanishad. Because the entire Chandogya Upanishad is not the teaching of Sanat Kumara to Narada. It is only the 7th chapter. Actually 5 chapters deal with Upasanas only. First 5 chapters of Chandogya Upanishad deal with Upasanas. 6th chapter deals with Upanishad. What does it teach? That was at Mahabaleshwar. We are at now Goa, Ramnathi. How far is Goa, Mahabaleshwar and Ramnath, is it not? Shvetaketu Vidya Prakasha Tattvamasi. That was the thing. Tattvamasi we had already done in this earlier chapter. Shvetaketu Vidya Prakasha, which was unfolding the Tattvamasi Mahavakya. So now here, Sanat Kumara in the 7th chapter is unfolding what is called, let us say, the same Atma Jnana in a different way. So Chandogya means in the 7th chapter. So whom did he teach? Naradaya Upadishtavan. He taught it to whom? Narada. Why? Narada approach, not that he wanted to teach. Narada approach and request, we'll see that what he is requesting. So Naradaya Upadishtavan. Now what are you going to do? Okay, that may be so. He says, Etam Vidya. This knowledge. So which knowledge? The knowledge that was imparted by Sanat Kumara to Narada. So this Etam Vidya. Atra means in this 4th chapter entitled Sanat Kumara Vidya Prakasha. Atra. So Pravakshe. I am elaborating, I am explaining. What for? Sarva Shoka Nivrittaye. For termination of all sorrows. Would you like to have or not? Say the purpose of this knowledge is what? Termination, destruction, elimination of all the sorrows. So therefore it says, so that is Sarva Shoka Nivrittaye. See, he has not simply said Shoka Nivrittaye. Sarva Shoka. What are the Shokas? How many Shokas are there? Endless is there. But they can be like Tapatraya, we say, no? Like Tapatraya, they can be categorized as such. That is what means. Otherwise, what is called as, in the other word, popular terms called Samsara. Samsara doesn't mean wife, children, husband, and all that. That is not the samsara. Samsara means existence of limitation, tensions, confusion, sorrows, and all. That is what is called samsara. So that is an ever-changing, a flux of change. So that is what is that? Samsara. Sarva shoka nivritte. How do you say that the purpose is to get freed from sorrows as such? Because that was exactly requested by who? Narada to Sanat Kumara, to which this teaching is the answer. There is a Narada goes and tells who? Sanat Kumara. Soham Bhagava Shochami. tamma bhagavan shokasya param tarayatu. Saha aham. That me Narada, that has got a lot of significance. You know who is that? That Narada who had all the laurels, all PhDs, not one or two as such. That was one who had such an academic excellence, all the arts at his command as such. That Narada, not ordinary Narada as such. So that Narada, so that me, so they shochami, I am in grief, I am in sorrow. Means in spite of all this, I am unable to get freed from sorrow. Means what does it mean? All that I have accomplished do not serve as the means of getting freed from sorrow. Therefore what? Bhagavan, tam mam, tam, that Narada, ma, me, Bhagavan, O revered sir, Bhagavan, shokasya param tarayatu. May you please help me to cross over this ocean of sorrow. So that is what is there. So Narada had requested for shoka nivritti. Because shoka nivritti was asked for, and the remedies given is for shoka nivritti. Therefore it says sarva shoka nivrittaye, to get freed from all the sorrows. So here is the essence of the teaching imparted by Sanat Kumara to Narada. By the by, this knowledge is also called as Bhuma Vidya. So this is also called as Bhuma Vidya. Why is it called Bhuma Vidya? Vidya, knowledge of Bhuma. So Bhuma is another name for Brahma. So Bhuma Vidya is the essence of the 7th chapter of Chandogya Upanishad. Now, who is this Narada? What all he had accomplished? Why he was not happy? Suppose a pauper who has no means to survive, etc., nothing he knows, etc., he is sorrowful. There is legitimate reason for that. But this Narada, do you know what that Narada was? Listen, he is not an ordinary person. All this accomplished he had, and he is telling that Narada who had studied all these things and all who had mastered all these branches of knowledge and arts, now I am in such a state. Please help me, let us see now. So this is what is now being told, what all the accomplishments of Narada were, let us see. Purana Panchaman Vedan Shastrani Vividhani Cha Jnatvapyanatma Vitvena Narada Shokamaptavan. Actually in Chandogya, this is the summary of 712 and 713. It starts there. Rigvedam Bhagavodhemi, etc. It begins with that, ends in the 713. Mantra videvasmi natmavit soham bhagavashochami, etc. This is what told in the stanza 2. It says, take this Anvaya, Naradaha, then take the first line entire, Purana Panchaman Vedan Shastrani Vividhani Cha Jnatva Api Anatma Vitvena Shokam Aptava. Naradaha Purana Panchaman Vedan Shastrani Vividhani Cha Jnatva Api Anatma Vitvena Shokam Aptava. So Narada, having mastered all these branches of knowledge, what are those? Let us know. He says, Purana Panchaman Veda. Vedas, how? With the 5th as Purana. How many Vedas are there? 4. Means all the 4 Vedas he has mastered, but not simply Vedas, Puranas also, which is called as Panchama Veda, taking this as the, because essence is like Vedas only, so therefore with Purana as the 5th Veda as it were, so that is how. With Puranas as the 5th Veda. So again, not only that, Shastrani Vividhani Cha, varied types of Shastras. What are these Vivida Shastras? Varied types of Shastras mastered by Narada. So we have to go to Chandogya only. Do you know what all he has studied? Of course, We know that we have 4 Vedas and Puranas we know. So besides 4 Vedas, he had studied Itihasa also. Now this Itihasa is not our history, okay? Like Indian history or history of such and such nation, etc. No. Ramayana Mahabharatas are called as Itihasa. You know how that word has come, Itihasa? Iti-ha-asa. Thus it was. Some people they say, no, the Ramayana was the fiction there, etc. No, that name is Itihasa. Thus it happened. That's what Itihasa. Now, it's not simply Ramayana Mahabharata, that is Itihasa there. In Vedas also certain portions are available as Itihasa. All those things, that Ramayana Mahabharata, etc. Now you may say Ramayana Mahabharata maybe later, etc. No. In fact, Valmiki to Valmiki, Rama was introduced by who? Narada. In fact, Valmiki asked, is there in this world such a person with such and such gunas, etc.? He says, yes. And who is he? It is called Rama. So therefore, Ramayana, Mahabharata and other Itihasa portion from the Vedas also. Then Purana we have seen, Panchama Veda. Then Vedanam Vedaha. What is Vedanam Vedaha? So Vedanam Veda is other, you don't know what is Vedanam Veda, but you know other name, Vyakaranam. Kya karna bolte hai na? So Vyakaranam, grammar is what is called as that Vedanam Veda. He had mastered the grammar. Pitryam. Pitryam is Shraddha Kalpa. The way how the Shraddha etc. conducted. Rashi. Rashi is mathematics. Daivam, science of portents or omens, by which we can foretell certain things. That is science of portent or omens, that is Daivam. Nidhihi refers to chronology and also the art of finding the hidden treasures. Beneath the earth, at certain places, the hidden treasures may be there. There is a way of finding it out. So that is called as the Nidhi, beside that chronology. Vako Vakyam is Tarka Shastra. Tarka Shastra, Vako Vakyam. Ekayanam is Niti Shastra, science of morality, Niti Shastra. Deva Vidya is Nirukta, etymology. Brahma Vidya. Now this Brahma Vidya is not the Brahma Vidya or what he has asked as such. Brahma also means Vedas, the knowledge of Veda. So therefore Brahma Vidya here is, that is Vedasya. Brahmanaha means Vedasya. What are those? Rik, Yajush, Samakhya, Vidya. Means actually already 4 Vedas have come. Why it is repeated here? So because it refers to Shadangas. Shiksha, Kalpa, Chanda, Chiti, etc. So there are certain things like that. So Chiti is, that is a way of understanding and collecting the information or the developing a thinking mind. That is what called Chitihi in this context. So that is what is called as Brahma Vidya here related to Vedas. Bhuta Vidya. Bhuta Vidya is what is called Bhuta Tantra or Bhuta Shastra, means what we say as physics, chemistry, etc. All physics, chemistry, etc. is called Bhuta Shastra. Bhuta Vidya. Now, the Bhuta Vidya is not other one. No? Ghost, etc. No, not that way. Then, physical science. Physical science, science of element, that is Bhuta Vidya. Kshatra Vidya. Now see, Kshatra Vidya is Dhanur Veda, archery. He was a master in archery. Nakshatra Vidya, Jyotisha. Sarpa Devajana Vidya. That is namely, Sarpa Vidya is Garuda. Garuda is charm against the snake poison. He knew it. Again, then Devajana Vidya, Sarpa Devajana Vidya, Sarpa Vidya you have seen. Devajana Vidya means science of aromatics. You know what is aromatic? Gandha Yuktihi, preparation of perfumes. I think only with this he would have mastered okay. So, beside that. So, therefore, the aromatics. Then, Nritya. Look here. He was master in dance. That would have been sufficient for him. Gita, music, Vadya, orchestra. Michael Jackson will be nowhere. So that is what noise only. But he will be something, that is something heavenly orchestra, not ordinary, heavenly orchestra. Not this all noise. Vadya. Shilpadi Vijnanam. Shilpa, architecture, etc. Sculpture. All these Adi Vidya, think of it. Even in one of these to get what? Mastery nowadays, they slog for years together. He had mastered all these things. So from the standard of the modern way of thinking, he should be what? Most ideal person or not? Most ideal he must be, and he must be most happy person, is it not? Now such a person, he says, Soham Bhagavat Shochami Shokasya Param Ma Tarayatu. So it Vividhani Cha. Now he says, Jnatva Api. Even having mastered all these, what? Naradaha Shokam Avaptavam. He was in sorrow. He got sorrows means he was drowned in sorrow. Why? He has at his command all these branches of knowledge. He should be a really happy person. No, one thing was lacking, because of which he was in sorrow. What was that was lacking in him? He says, Anatmavitvena. Anatmavitvena means what? Na Atmavitvena. He was not a Atmavit. He was not a Atmavit as such. So he was not a Atmavit means he didn't have the Atma Jnana. He didn't have Atma Jnana, what does it mean? He knew everything except one. And what is that one? Atma means what? Don't think Atma, etc. What is me, he didn't know. Everything else he knew. Think of it. Are we better off? Swamiji, I know. I am so and so. Son of so and so, daughter of so and so, husband of so and so, wife of so and so, brother of so and so, sister of so and so. How do you say we don't know? That is exactly, that shows that you don't know. That itself shows that you are taking something else other than you as you. That shows that you don't know yourself. So therefore it says, let us say what is I at. Anatma Vitvena, because of not knowing his true nature. So he got drowned in where? Shoka. Now the question comes, see, he had studied all the Vedas, is it not? Not an ordinary person. Even one Veda, studying one Veda itself is a great accomplishment. And having studied all Vedas, should he not be happy as such? How do you say he was sorrowful? He says, after study of Vedas, see, he got more sorrows. Therefore what? Vedas should not be studied, not that way. Says, Vedas are necessary to be studied, no doubt, but mere study of Veda itself doesn't guarantee happiness. On the contrary, it can add sorrows also. You may wonder, how is it? See, suppose, an illiterate person is sorrowful, highly educated person. Should be happy, no? According to this norm, he is more sorrowful. Let us see now. Highly educated person, maybe from the standard of the words, is supposed to be happy, etc. He says more sorrowful. How? Let us see now. So he says, after that is not an argument not to learn, not to study Vedas, not that way. But there are that by itself is not the goal. It should serve as a means to the end. That is a different thing. So therefore he says, in spite of the study of the Vedas, what happened? Instead of getting freed from sorrows, sorrows were added to the existing sorrows. How is it? Let us see now. Vedabhyasat puratapa trayamatrena shokita paschatvabhyasa vismara Bhanga garvaischa shokita. You know, some of new persons, what is Anvaya? Anvaya is the prose order of the shloka. So the in Sanskrit only, the shloka is put in the prose order so that it becomes more clear if you have got some knowledge of Sanskrit or if you know the word meaning as well. Vedabhyasat pura tapatrayamatrena shokita paschatu, note the sandhi breaking, paschatu abhyasa vismara bhanga garvaihi cha shokita. Vedabhyasat pura. So before the study of the Vedas, pura means here purvam, prior to the study of the Vedas, certainly sorrows were there, which are common to everyone. What are those? Tapatrayamatrena shokita. Shokita means shokaha. Everyone has got, all living beings have got shokas, sorrows. On account of what? Tapatraya. What are tapatraya? Three types of afflictions. Adhyatmika, sorrows emerging from one's own embodiment. Adi bhautika, sorrows emerging from the surroundings, etc. Adi daivika, sorrows coming from phenomenal powers. So that is what is called. There are three types. Like phenomenal powers, like what? Ativrishti, anavrishti, heavy rains or drought, thunder, lightning, earthquakes. So like this. So these are the means which are not under our control. So that are the three types of affliction which are common to all people. But after study of Vedas, he got some more. What are those? Paschatu, to show the contrast between the common sorrows that are there for everyone. Here, in addition now. So what are the afflictions now? Abhyasa. Study of the Vedas means what? He should learn them. Learning the Vedas is a joke. Swamiji, that was their problem, not nowadays. Why? Everything you can dub in the computer. Internet must be there. Somebody's already done that. You can. Yes. You have got a program, let us say. All that is there. Where? In that? I don't think. It is not called idiot box. Idiot box is different. In that box. Okay, in that box. And it is at your disposal. It is not. Yes, it is at your disposal. And what happened? So you wanted to get something, yes, and you went. Because of high voltage up. Isn't it? Or no power at all. Electricity, we are entering the internet age, but there is no guarantee of electricity. Okay. Everything is there. What is the use? Again, what is dubbed there, any guarantee it is correct? Be careful, okay? As far as the internets are concerned, be careful in that is unloading all these things. There is no guarantee because it's for all for the sake of money it is being done. Okay, that's fine. So, now he has to study. And do you know what is study? He should remember, not nowadays such one says that he read and all and forgot. No, he has to remember all whatever that he studied, all the Vedas. How can you remember? However genius you may be, unless you regularly repeat abhyasa, you are bound to forget. So therefore what he has to do now? Every day or alternate days he should go on repeating. That's what abhyasa means, repetition. So therefore I say that is anavarata abhyasa must be there. So he has to repeat. What that means? Repeat what he has learned regularly. Okay. That is Abhyasa. Abhyasa is not simply studies. Actually, Abhyasa is repetition. That is now in our mother tongue, etc. It is used for studies, that is fine, but actually it means the repetition. Then, in spite of repetition, after all, human limitations are there. One may forget. Vismara. Forgetfulness. Forgot. And then when did he forget? At exactly the time when he is supposed to remember. Like the studies, no? Everything is mastered, but when he went to the examination hall, what happened? Forgot. Not that. So, Vismara. Then comes Bhanga. At times, Bhanga here means defeat. So there was a congregation of great scholars, and he was one of them. And while discussing and arguing with them, what happened? What he had understood was proved to be wrong. He was defeated. What will happen? You can imagine the plight of this person. That is Bhanga, defeat. Or it can be Bhaya also. The alternative thing is Bhaya, fear of such defeat by others. Because he is parading as a great scholar, and somebody proves it to be otherwise, then what will happen? The fear of losing that status as a great scholar will be the fear. Garvaihi. Garva here is conceit. That is, do you know who am I? I have studied all the Vedas with the Sangha, Shiksha, Kalpa, Vyakarana, Chandas, etc. I have studied. Satyam is conceit as such. Because of this, Shokita, sorrow is there. Earlier common sorrows are there or not? Tapatraya. They are intact. Tapatraya sorrows are intact. To add to that, these are the additional sorrows. Earlier, they were not there. Even with, as the academic education goes on increasing, big load on the head as well. Even information technology. Today's software is obsolete tomorrow. And this fellow has to update how long? Whole lifelong. Even if the fellow is 85, he has to update this thing. And what happened? He had purchased softwares thinking that they are the top one. Now what happened? It's of no use. If you know, when this computer etc. came, there are people who have left the job and started the business. They were disillusioned within 3-4 years. Because what they had mastered is now totally obsolete as such. So therefore that is what Bhaya or Bhang, fear is there or Shoka is there or not. So that is how, so what happens? That means the person who has studied Vedas, see here study of Vedas is Upalakshana for all this academic knowledge. So he has got the possibility of more sorrow than a common man. Common man has only Tapatraya, but he has got still more. Then why did he approach Sanat Kumara? One thing is that, in spite of all this accomplishment, Narada was in sorrow. He approached Sanat Kumara for what? For the redressal of sorrow. But what made him go to Sanat Kumara only and not someone else? Why did he not go to Indra or someone? Because he had some information. He had some information how sorrows can be crossed over or destroyed as such. What was that? Somewhere he has got the clue that if you know Atma Swarupa, if you know one's own true nature, sorrow can be totally eliminated. That he had got the information. And he knew Sanat Kumara is one of them. Sanat Kumara is the one Atmavit. So, from persons like such great masters, he had known that Atmavit Shokam Tarati. So, therefore he says, so, I had heard from persons, the great persons like you, that one who has got the knowledge of the true I, Atma, can totally get freed from sorrows, and therefore what? Please help me to cross over this sorrow. So this is 713 at the end. So that is now is explained here. Shokam taratyatma vedi इत्यभिज्ञेभ्यः श्रुतं वचः शोकपारं नयेत्युक्त्वा नारदो गुरुमाप्तवान् आत्मवेदी शोकं तरति इति अभिज्ञेभ्यः वचः श्रुतम् अभिज्ञेभ्यः वचः श्रुतम् नारदः शोकपारं नय इति उक्त्वा गुरुम् आप्तवान् नारदः शोकपारं नय इति उक्त्वा गुरुम् आप्तवान्. So he has known from great master. What is that? Atmavedi shokam tarati in Chandogya. Shrutam hi eva bhagavad drishebhya tarati shokam atmavit 713. Atmavedi means atmavit, atmadjnani, one who has got the direct knowledge, sakshatkara of what Atma Sarupa I is. So what result does he gain? Shokam tarati, gets freed from sorrow, gets freed from samsara. Means, so he discovers his Swarupa to be nothing but limitless Ananda Swarupa, free from all the sorrows. So, Atmavedi Shokam Tarati iti. So, from where did you learn this? Abhidnebhyaha Vachaha Shrutam. I heard this statement from great masters like you only. Abhidnebhya. Who are the Abhidnyaha? Jnanis. Who have got Atma Jnana. They have said, means certainly we should, that means find out how it is so, etc. It is worth accepting. So, Abhidnebhya Vachaha statement, Shutaha, I have heard. So, therefore, so Narada, what did Narada do? Shokaparam Naya. Oh, revered sir, please help me to cross over this sorrow. Iti Uktva, having said, Gurum Aptavan. Aptavan approached. Whom did he approach? Gurum. Guru. Who is Guru here? Sanat Kumara. He approached the Sanat Kumara. Why it is said Gurum? In the required manner. So, with the required manner. What is the required manner? So, she said, means first, Nasti akrutaha krutena tad vidnyanartham sa gurumeva abhigajam. First, one should discover that with the means at our disposal of accomplishing many things in life, gaining happiness, freeing from sorrows, the final goal cannot be gained. The limitations of the means at our command has to be discovered first. Then only one can have that required frame of mind to gain the knowledge, proceed with the inquiry and gain the knowledge. From that standpoint, says, so that required manner, that is pariksha lokan karmachitan brahmano nirvedamayat nasti akrutaha krutena mundakopanishad. Pariksha lokan karmachitan, having analyzed and investigated, examined all the results that can be gained in terms of do this and accomplish this. Sadhya sadhana. Do this to accomplish this. Karmachitan, unearned by karma. Brahmanaha nirvedamayat. Brahmana here is a mature person, got dispassion that all these nasti akrutaha akrutena. By all these doings, I cannot discover that which is limitless ananda, free from sorrow. Therefore, what is to be done? Tad vidnyanartham sa gurumeva abhigacche shrotriyam brahmanishtam samitpani. With the samit in the hand, with the required disposition, goes to a guru who is both brahmanishtaha, shrotriyaha. Shrotriyaha, well versed the shastra, at the same time brahmanishta, direct knowledge also is there. So that Narada knows Sanat Kumar to be like that, and therefore Gurum Aptavan. And then who Sanat Kumar asked, first tell me what all you had studied. And Narada tells all that is there. He says, all that you have studied is only in terms of nama. It is only in terms of the external objects as such. True things that need to be discovered, you have not discovered, therefore you are in sorrow. That is it. Bahugrantabhyasataste Mahati Shabdavasana Nama Brahmetyupasvata Iti provacha tam guruhu. Anvaya Bahugrantabhyasataha Te Mahati Shabdavasana add Jata. Mahati Shabdavasana add Jata. Jata is Adhyahara. Adhyahara means certain words, if supplemented, makes the sentence complete, which is not there, which is presumed. So Shabdavasana add Jata. Ataha. The second line. First see the Sandhi breaking there. Nama Brahma iti upasva ataha. Nama Brahma iti upasva. Then ataha. Now take the Anvaya. Ataha Nama Brahma iti upasva iti tam guruhu provacha. Iti tam guruhu provacha. See, what did Narada request for? That knowledge by which he can get totally freed from sorrow. What Sanat Kumara should teach him now? That knowledge, is it not? But he doesn't. Not that he doesn't want to teach him, he is going to teach, but not immediately. Why not immediately? He wants to see that Narada's mind is ready. Why? Was it not that his mind was ready? No. Mind was preoccupied in all the vidyas that he had studied. And what types of knowledge they were? Related to the world in terms of Nama and Rupa. And he has mastered all this, not the cursory at glance. What is the cursory glance? He has mastered all this. So, mind is totally filled up with that mind needs to be diverted to the inquiry to discover one's own Swarupa. Certain disposition is inevitable. Immediately it cannot be gained. So therefore, his mind has to be now redirected towards the inquiry to make him discover what Atma Swarupa is. So a graded program is being given. Suddenly it can't be done. So what is that graded program? Whatever the student or the seeker is familiar with presently, with the help of that, step by step he is led to discover the ultimate reality, Atma or Brahma. Presently what Narada is occupied with in terms of Nama, Shabda, of all. Shabda means not simply word, the knowledge of entire Jagat. So from there he should be led now Granthabhyasataha, because of his study of so many Shastras. Te Mahati Shabdavasana Jata. O Narada, in your mind, all these samskaras are there. Vasana, Shabdavasana, Vasana, samskaras of Shabda. Shabda means your Upalakshana for Vishayas. Not simply don't take only as the Shabda, the word or the sound as such. Vishayas means of the objective knowledge. Your mind is totally filled up with the samskaras, impressions of objective knowledge. That is not going to help at all to know your Swarupa. So it has to be prepared now. So from that standpoint, it says Bahugrantabhyasataha, not ordinary, not the alphabets or something that of so many studies, studies of so many Shastra. Te, in your case, what has happened? Mahati Shabdavasana Jata. So there is a The great impression or samskaras of all the objective world, or we can say Shabdavasana refers to Vishayavasana, samskaras of all the objects that mind is totally filled with. So it is there. So therefore what is that? He gives a upasana. So that slowly the mind is diverted. Those who have studied Taittiriya Upanishad, you are familiar. What is that? Athata sagumhitayam upanishadam vyakhyāsyāmaha. Student who goes, he is given upasana. Upasana means what? Constantly meditating or thinking of on a given things, directly told by who? Shastras, Vedas, to the exclusion of all other thoughts. Now there the student who had approached the master was the one who had just now studied all the Vyakarana, phonetics, etc. Grammar, phonetics, etc. So his mind is preoccupied where? In phonetics and grammar. So what does the teacher do? He takes help of that what he is now familiar with in terms of phonetics, and there only he gives the upasanas. Thus take the sandhi, that grammatical conjunction, earlier letter, subsequent letter, joining of them, like that. He gives a preoccupation to the mind, that is what Samhita Upanishad. Samhita means sandhi. Sandhi, which sandhi? Grammatical conjunctions. So like that. Based on that, why? The mind of the student is preoccupied in the grammar, phonetics, etc. So from that standpoint, like that here, Narada's mind was preoccupied within the objective science because of the study of so many branches of knowledge, and therefore he says what? So Shabdavasana, therefore Arjuna, Narada, what you do is ataha, therefore means, because your mind is preoccupied with the impressions regarding the Shabda, which is for all Vishayas, so what do? Nama Brahmeti Upasva. Take to Upasana that Nama Brahma iti. Nama Shabda. So look upon Nama Shabda as what? Brahma. So how is it? You see. Pratimayam Vishnu Buddhi. See. There is an idol. But you don't look at the idol. What you say? Vishnu. For Ramanatha. Who is that? Shiva. Ramnath is Shiva, you know. Morning you will see, okay, when the Alankara is removed, morning you will see that it is Lord Shiva, Ramanatha. So Lord Rama has installed Shiva Linga at Rameshwara, is it not, before this Setu was constructed. So that is Ramanatha. So that's Shiva. So now, that's not that the Linga itself is that, but in that what you see? The Lord himself, Shiva himself. Vishnu, Pratima is there. So what you see? You see the Vishnu himself. Salagrame Vishnu. Salagrame is specific stone. But you don't say it's what? Nothing but Vishnu. So therefore, that buddhi. So, Nikrishta Vastuni Utkrishta Tattva Darshanam. In a lower object, you see a higher principle. So that's how it is. So that is what. So now, Shabda, only Nama is only Shabda word. But that ordinary Nama, look upon as what? Nothing but Brahma. So that's what is that. Nama Brahmeti Upasva iti provacha tam guru. So, who Sanat Kumara taught Narada to take to Upasana that Nama, Shabda, and again Shabda are what? Vacharambanam, Vakalambanam. Only at the tip of your tongue. Really there is nothing called as the... See, gold, out of gold, chain is made. Chain is a Shabda. You inquire, what is actually? Gold. And what a chain? Further you inquire gold. If you inquire, try to find out what is the truth behind the gold, metal, electrons, protons, etc. It will go on like that anyway. Is it not? So like that. But you have what a word, gold, chain, etc. Shabda. But the truth is something else. So therefore he says, that Nama, Shabda as Brahma, take to Upasana is constantly think of that. Now here a question comes, we have seen, though Narada had asked for that knowledge by which one can get freed from sorrows of samsara, Why, instead of directly teaching him, why Sanat Kumara gives him the upasana? For that, his mind being not ready, it has to be made ready, and therefore the upasanas are given. The author is explaining. Swashabdavasanam tektva prapsyasi brahmavasanam paschat brahmana atmatvam vakshamiti gurormatihi. Swashabdavasanam. An alternate reading is there. Sashabda also is there. Both can be seen. Sashabda means along with Shabda Vasanas, with other Vasanas also. Or Swashabda Vasana means, so all that Shabda Vasana that you have amassed as such, Tektva, so having given up, Brahma Vasanam Prapsyasi, O Narada, if you take to Upasana that Nama is Brahma, so if you constantly think that way in terms of meditation, so meditation can be anything. Meditation can be anything. In meditation, one principle is that mind is given a single preoccupation. That's all. General complaint is that we can't meditate. Everyone can meditate. Suppose you go to the temple, chappal was kept outside. Shoes, how much? 5,999. And you went to darshan of Ramnathi. Mind is where? Constantly, shoes, 6,000, meditation. So like that here, giving a repeated preoccupation, so there is a Nama Brahma. So Shabda Vasanam Tektva, having given up your existing these impressions in the mind totally being drowned in those Shabda Vasana, what will they get? Brahma Vasanam Prapsyasi, alternative Prapsyati, you will get. Brahma Vasana means the mind will start thinking about Brahma. You may not know Brahma, but I should get knowledge of Brahma. If I get knowledge of Brahma, sorrows will be ended, etc. Then, once that readiness of the mind is there, Guru knows I can certainly teach him the knowledge that he has asked for. Paschat, after getting the Brahma Vasana, Brahmanaha Atmatvam Vakshami. I will teach him, point out, Brahmanaha Atmatvam. That Brahma which you think that something else remote is there, Atmatvam is verily your Swarupa. The true I has to be what? That Brahma only. Presently the mind is not ready. If your mind is ready, I will certainly that Guru Sanat Kumara has known, that has decided that afterwards I will teach him Brahmana Atmatvam Vakshami. Iti, so Guroho Matihi. This is the Mati. Mati means here Abhipraya, intention. This is the intention of what? Guru. Who Guru? Sanat Kumar. So, first let me prepare him with the Brahma Vasana, then I will point out that Brahma is verily your true nature and the teaching is going to work. So that is good. Means in order, Kramena, one after the other, I will teach him. Now, Sanat Kumara has told him a Nama as Brahma. What is Narada's goal? Shoka Para. So now, whether Nama is Brahma he has discovered, will the Shoka be over? That he discovers no. So therefore, he wants the final solution. He further asks the question. You will see that now series of question and answer is going on. Not our question answer session, okay? So this question and answer will be related to Nama Brahma iti upasita from the standpoint Shoka Para. So we will see that. Om Swasti Prajabhya Paripadayantam Nyayena Margena Mahim Maheshaha गोब्राह्मणेभ्यो भवन्तु काले वर्षतु पर्जन्यः पृथिवी सस्यशालिनी देशोऽयं क्षोभरहितः ब्राह्मणाः सन्तु निर्भयाः ॐ सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मा अमृतं गमय ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरि ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः हरि ओम।